Hey, it's Shabes, and welcome to another special edition of AniTube Digest, where we go over the entries for the r/anime contest. I think there's multiple kind of contests going on. This is the video portion, and I have access to the full playlist of it. It is public, actually. There is a post for it, but I and a few others are judges for this contest, and the results are going to be a little later, I guess. It's on Kami at this point. But I've selected my five. We're just kind of discerning what the deal with that was. But I wanted to go over more of these videos because it's more anime YouTube videos for you to check out. I think are interesting. And this is again going in the playlist order. But unlike the other entries, that I've actually seen all of these videos already. But just kind of a while ago, like maybe a couple weeks ago. But I did take notes. In my infinite wisdom, I did take some notes. And I rewatched a couple videos in case there was like, I don't really quite remember that. But most of these videos I have pretty good recollection of what they were like and my thoughts on them. But if they are a little dulled or general or something, I'm sorry. I apologize. It might not be as thorough here. I'll be kind of reading off my notes here a little bit. This might be a little choppy or something. But yeah, the playlist again is in the description, and we're going playlist order. I hope you enjoy it. The first video is from LogNacho. I think this is his first video that he made. And it's the longest video on the playlist. Yes. But it's just short of 20 minutes. You know, not like 30, like some entry. No offense to you 30-minute entries, you know, what it be. But this video is on Fire Force, the sleeper shonen of 2019. And I like this idea of being a sleeper shonen because it's true. I think a lot of people, they were hyped for it initially because it's the Soul Eater author, and they think they kind of got turned off by a couple of elements or something about it. It just kind of slipped under a lot of people's radar. But the people who are watching it are still watching season 2. They're really fucking with it, so that's cool. And so I like the concept, and it's very straight shooting. But ultimately he kind of just focuses on a lot of things and just kind of what makes Fire Force so cool and good. In a variety of different ways. It's not like a straightforward review, which I appreciated. But I don't know if he necessarily addresses this idea of it being a sleeper shonen. He's not really addressing the metatextual community element here. And that's okay. You don't have to, but I that's just what my expectations were going in, seeing a title like that personally. You know, I wrote that it doesn't seem to be directly talking about the initial premise of this inexplicable pull towards Fire Force. I like this idea where, you know, there's some je ne sais quoi about it, and LogNacho's just kind of trying to figure it out. And so it has a variety of different things here. There's some manga analysis in terms of like the paneling and like the details of that. And there's actually some pretty sweet editing here. It's very well put together. It's very polished. Especially for a first video, it's pretty awesome like that. I do appreciate the closed captions. Not like it was poor English or anything like that, but I thought they were... Yeah, it's not like all that bad English at all. He seems to be from Madrid, according to the YouTube thing at the top. But I thought the English was really good, but I do appreciate the closed captions in general. I think anybody is who finds themselves in that situation, I think it's worth doing. There's also some design analysis, some kind of character, some stuff like that. But like a lot of it going through the analysis, it seemed really sound, and there was a lot of variety, but it didn't have too much of a pull for me. It didn't have like that through line of like trying to connect everything and build on top sort of thing. Like the structure kind of feels a little all over the place. And then there's a fight analysis. So yeah, there's tons of different things he's doing here, which I do like. It's showing multi-purpose, multifaceted types of analysis, and I thought it was really good. It was just kind of like unfocused and a little like now we're doing this, you know, and trying a lot of different ideas. But you know, yeah, I also like this. I think he meant, I don't know if he mentions this necessarily, but the idea that Fire Force is technically very impressive, but in very small, subtle ways that the average seasonal viewer might not pick up on or appreciate. But I don't know how much this video really emphasized that idea, or maybe I don't know if I don't know if that's a note that I'm picking up based on his analysis, or something he's saying in the video. So again, I'm sorry, you know, this disconnect of having not seen the videos in kind of a while. But yeah, for the analysis I thought it was really sound. And again, for a first video, I thought it was really polished and good. I really like the little introduction at the beginning with the kind of AMV type of thing. That's always really nice. Yeah, good atmosphere and stuff. Yeah, pretty good video. My first video seen from KoraxCatalyst, and let me just double check if they've made videos before. They've been doing it for a little while. They were more active like a couple years ago with Neon Genesis, and just recently put out a video like a week ago about continuing with their Ava analysis. They're putting out a video on the anime haircut that meant nothing, and it's about Monogatari, and I haven't seen Monogatari yet, so most of the time Monogatari analysis kind of goes right over my head. I'm like, yeah, it sounds cool, you know, but it's hard for me to stick with it and engage in that way. But I thought this was a really good hook, and I thought it was really followable. I did appreciate the lack of spoilers that they had here, because I don't know, I was looking to watch it soon, but yeah, I liked that it felt very safe in that way. And as much as I wish they focused on the hair a little bit, I think it kind of went off on a bit of a tangent towards the end, and then the video just kind of ends. Like I wasn't looking. I was pretty immersed with it actually, and wasn't looking at the time code. Like sometimes, you know, sometimes you feel the time, you know, you feel any like how much more of this video type of thing. And that's not an overall, but it's I don't usually take that as a bad sign type of thing. I just, you know, sometimes you feel like that. But I hadn't noticed that the video was almost done or just wrapping up, and I was like, oh, that's it. Oh shoot, it felt like it ended very abruptly. So I guess that's a good thing that it was pretty immersive in that way, that I felt that it kind of just like went by like that. But yeah, I thought it was pretty followable and interesting, but like, you know, I can only immerse and enjoy it so much with not having seen Monogatari personally. And that's usually not a problem with other anime that I haven't seen and when watching videos of them. But I don't know, it's specifically Monogatari. There's something about it that, like, I guess maybe like the visuals are so engrossing on a separate level that like it's hard for me to pay attention. Maybe, I don't know. It's difficult to say. But I enjoyed that video. It was pretty cool. CiderThoughts had a video on Toradora called A Spool of Yarn, and you know, so the basis of this video is about tension and how there's a kind of invisible spool of yarn, but then there's multiple spools of yarn that it's tying, because he's going all about how like Toradora has a lot of tension threads going at once, and it's stacking on top. But I thought the metaphor was a little difficult to follow personally. I guess he does have a sense of awareness of what he's doing, because he's like, I'm going to steal a page from Minori's book. Minori is one of the characters, and he's going to speak in vague and misleading analogies. And it's like, yeah, but like I get that it's kind of a lampshaded thing where it's like, I know what I'm doing, but I don't know if that necessarily makes it any better personally. I think it's because it is making it difficult to follow, and you just kind of question the idea instead of paying attention to what you're trying to say. You know, he's going plot beat by plot beat through the whole show, like from the beginning onwards, and it's a little bit plot summary-ish. And so the structure, I think, was kind of all over, kind of like, especially if it's being hung on this vague and misleading analogy of a spool of yarn that like the audience is trying to kind of grasp and try to understand, and you're navigating it through, going beat by beat through the whole show. I just thought that it was a little sloppy and kind of hard to digest personally. Um, I was thinking about watching the video that like he's mentioning all the instances where this show is building tension and there's so much tension and none of it's getting released or anything. And I thought it was fascinating how the show could be building all this tension, and yet I remember watching this show and not feeling all that tense about it. Maybe I just wasn't engaged with it the same way, but it doesn't feel like it's a very tense thriller type. It's not like a thriller. Like Toradora is not like a stressful show to watch personally. I mean, maybe for CiderThoughts, maybe because he's really enraptured by the character dynamics and the things that they're the way they're interacting with each other, building this tension. Maybe that's just personal readings, but I mean, I never see Toradora like classified as a thriller exactly. So it's interesting that it's like there's so much insurmountable dramatic tension that he's kind of painting here, but it doesn't feel like that. I don't know. That's just something that I've kind of noticed about it. That's kind of all I have to say about it. Unfortunately, I'm sorry if it's a little negative. I liked the earnestness he had with this video, and that he seems to really like it, and he's like the show at least, and the earnestness is infectious. I do enjoy it. I didn't like hate watching this video or something, but I was just more scratching my head, which it's certainly better than being angry at and calling. It's better than how I've reacted to other certain YouTube videos in the past. Sorry to make what is it? Compare. I don't know. Forget it. I enjoyed the video. It was just difficult. It was just like, difficult to follow, I guess. Dirkoin had a Black Clover video. Is Black Clover good? I fuck with that because I am on that side of people genuinely thinking it's a good show, and not for like it has good deep characters and the themes or something like that. It's a fun show. It's fun. And I think that makes it good. Anyway, I really like how strong the opening here is. I think Dirkoin, like his other videos I've seen from him, has a lot of energy in his editing and in his performance and what he's showing you. I think like there's a lot of sharp choices and a lot of constantly engaging, enrapturing things. I think it was kind of weird though that like you were using Crunchyroll footage, and it's not like the worst thing in the world, but I was just a little distracted how like it's like you took this from YouTube, where you had like the Crunchyroll logo and like the copy line watermark in the corner and stuff. And if it was because you needed the subtitles for that scene because you wanted to show like what the characters were saying, I would at least have gone the extra mile and like just use the raw footage, because I assume you know how to get footage for your videos, with whatnot. And I would just have taken the raw footage of that and then copy the subtitles, just remake the subtitles by hand. But that's me, because I'm a crazy person. Yeah. And even then, I mean, you could also do some kind of fun things with the subtitles, like some people like to do. I personally don't, but you could have done that as well. Just a point to mention, it wasn't a huge knock on the video or something. I just thought it was strange. And I did feel like the energy was sort of winding down towards the end. It was kind of spiraling into some other stuff that I was not as engaged with, I suppose. Again, I can't go into specifics because I haven't rewatched the video exactly. But I really like the energy you bring here and the creative choices that you're making with the editing and the performance and stuff. I think it's very out of the box and expressive and strong. So I hope you are enjoying come on, enjoying making these videos, and I hope you make more, because I think you have a lot of potential that I think will be really great to see. I think it's exciting. It's good stuff. I watched Pieandchickeneater. That's an interesting name. Talk about Monster Girl Doctor, the dull version of Monster Musume, and this is a top subject I hadn't seen anyone talk about before. Comparing the original to this new spin-off, and yeah, I hadn't heard about. No one talked about Doctor the way they did about Monster Musume back when that first show first aired, and I thought that was interesting and you know, it's strange, and I was happy this video kind of addressed that, I suppose, or at least a potential reason for that. I mentioned in my notes that you could have probably raised the volume of the audio. I think it was kind of quiet in the mix, but also, and there also wasn't much music, so it was sort of a difficult listen. It's not like I don't think the audio quality was outright poor, but I think it could have been improved in a way. You know, try to test with not just with headphones, like you can hear with headphones, sure, but a lot of people, such as myself, you know, we're watching these videos on like monitors without any headphones or anything like that. So try to test it without that and see if you can on like the full volume and stuff. And yeah, I think just to test that sometimes. But yeah, I liked the concept and I like all the points that are being made. I'm just reading my notes. Sorry, I should have read them in advance. It's like, I thought that the points that you were making could have been applied to storytelling in general, and I think it would have benefited the video to try to like expand on those ideas using other shows besides these two. I thought it was a little too narrowly focused in that way, even though I get that, you know, I think it's in some ways smart to try to just focus on these two, because they're both trying to they're going for similar things, whereas if you start introducing other shows, you might start to get kind of mixed messages of like, yeah, this is what this show does, but that's because it's aiming for this thing, whereas that's not what these other shows are aiming for. That is kind of the crux with comparison videos, which I'm guilty of for certain myself, of comparing two shows that like are very clearly trying to do different things. But yeah, I just thought that the lessons that you're talking about with the, you know, don't do this and that, with this kind of the problems that Monster Girl Doctor has, I think could have implied on a much wider scale, just for more digestible and under, you know, oh yeah, I get it sort of deal. That was just a point I was thinking of. And yeah, again with the it wasn't so much with the audio, but like overall, I thought the actual presentation felt very simple and not too much like in the way of energy to it. You know, and I think that's okay. It's like, if that's your personality, and it's that is what it is, it reflects it. But you know, I would say I would encourage you to try experiment a little more with various video things that like kind of to demonstrate your point, besides the clip selection, things like that. Yeah, and I wasn't able to grab onto what you were saying as much, because you know, it wasn't as engaging in that way. I think it was just very flat. But that's okay. You know, some people a lot of successful YouTubers have very flat presentation and flat delivery. It just ends up that like their particular way of, it's some other je ne sais quoi, basically. It's like the way that they weave the narratives or something like that. Which, you know, I'm not going to get too deep into the weeds with that here. But you know, that was just something I noticed. I thought that overall was kind of neutral and flat, and it was like, yeah, you know. But you know, I hope you don't take that too negatively. I do, again, I was happy you talked about this, because I hadn't heard anyone talk about it. That was interesting. Ghost in the Shell, the sights and soundscapes of cyborgs, from 14Spoons. I have seen you around on Twitter. Hello. And I think this is the first time I've covered you on Digest. So like, I really liked this video on the soundscapes and kind of focusing on sound design. I think that's very unique and a different thing that not a lot of people talk about in general. Never mind Ghost in the Shell. I thought you had a lot of really great examples, and the number of quotes that you're pulling to kind of talking about the analysis of this film, because it's a very well and analyzed and academic type of film that there's a lot of resources for, and I think you take good advantage of that. I really like the music choice you had here, at least in my notes. Sorry. I haven't rewatched it in a bit. And yeah, I liked the cutting away, the balance between you delivering this with face cam versus the clips. I thought it was a really good balance, and a delightful surprise. I thought you had a good camera presence as well. Yeah, I think unfortunately that's as much as I'm able to say. It's a lot of those instances where, like, a lot of really great videos, it's difficult for me to really pick through and really enrich and try to, like, describe to people oftentimes, and I'm finding myself kind of short with those examples, but I really did enjoy this video. I thought it was awesome. Really fascinating, and a lot of the work put into it. You could really tell you really studied into it and really was trying to do this film justice. So that was awesome. Really cool stuff. Really liked that. amhpanther, I believe would be how you pronounce her name. May have said it in the video, so I apologize. Talking about Lum the Forever and the Silver Screen. It's an analysis video on the movie Urusei 4, which I watched, and a lot of it flew right past me. It was very hard to follow, and it's very surrealist and weird to follow. But I was very appreciative of this analysis, and I thought it was very followable and easy to understand, very digestible. I really like the intro you had here, really setting the mood and the tone of this film. And I'm surprised. I was delightfully surprised at the style of this video, where you're being represented as a VTuber doing an anime analysis, and it's like the VTuber in the corner with the footage in the corner there, in the other corner. I thought that was really I mean, that maybe it's just the monkey brain with, you know, me getting indoctrinated by VTubers in general. I'm not, like, super versed in them. I really only follow, like, one of them. But it is an infectious format, I think, for somehow. I think there's a quality to it that's really appealing. But yeah, I really appreciated the actual analysis. There was a lot of quotes from certain philosophers. Didn't write them down. Didn't honestly write a whole lot of notes down in general, because I was just, like, entranced by the analysis here, and it does go a little plot summary-ish, but I think that's incredibly necessary, given that this movie is very much of a trip. And it's like, you're wondering what the heck happened, and you're just kind of baffled by a lot of imagery in it. So I think that instance of plot summary is pretty appropriate, even though it doesn't get too much in it. I think it's plot summary, like, towards the beginning, and then you're just kind of going loosely with, like, the structure of kind of what generally is happening, and it's that kind of, like, Lum the Forever explained type of video, but a lot more tastefully presented and titled, which I appreciate. And yeah, I really liked the analysis here, with, you know, talk more philosophically about the audience relationship with media. That was really crazy and interesting. But yeah, I really thought this was fascinating, and this, it's another instance like FourteenSpoons' video and Ghost in the Shell, where there's so much information that it's difficult for me to specifically parse and pierce. I like this specific point type of thing. It just kind of all washes over, and I'm like, wow, that was really cool type of thing. Yeah, but I really enjoyed that video. That was cool. And Poisxn Ivy, as the other analysis video that she's put out, and this was the first one she put out, on Monogatari expressionism and conceptual characterization. What a mouthful! But what do you do with such a with such abstract concepts and monogatari, right? So like I really liked the explanation of kind of comparing realism and expressionism, and I think the compare like the point of contrast with Monster representing realism was appreciated, because Monster is one of my favorite anime. So I was able to understand what you mean by expressionism by contrasting it. It's basically not Monster. I'm like, ah. So like I did rewatch this video because I knew this was going to be one of those videos where I was like, I don't know what to say. So granted, I just came off 2 videos where that exact same thing happened. Maybe I should. Fuck. Whatever. But yeah, I did rewatch this one, and yeah, but I like the music, and it's a very essay type video. So it was a little similar to any Monogatari video for me that I explained earlier, where it kind of washes over me. And it's a lot of details, and I'm like, yeah, okay, you know. But one thing I could pick out. Oh yeah, so like so generally I felt what I felt about that, and I get this is like the first video, and I think all of us, this happens to literally everybody making video essays. It feels much more like an essay script, like something you would kind of turn in for college, and not so much of a video script where this is something that people are experiencing through voice and through visuals, and they're not reading it. And so I think that requires different devices, different kind of like narrative devices, injecting more personal, basically a lot of egg breaking that college essays will not let you do. Like, you don't want to say I sort of deal, or injecting jokes. Not like I'm expecting humor, like you must have humor in your video essay. Nothing like that, but it's more like using the visuals and the audio of the thing you're talking about, because it is a video, so it's like you can kind of interject things like that. Trying to make it more of an experience in that way, and not so much here's my script in a video form. And again, this happens with literally everybody, and a lot of times it's fine and it works. It doesn't make much of a difference, so it's not like a huge deal, but something to keep in mind, in thinking about it, and trying to making it more of a experiential. I think the reason I would say that is that it makes your video more engaging, and gets people to kind of absorb the information sooner, and making it follow that, making the audience follow you through your points. You know what I mean? Not that I think it was poor here. It would just help with it, basically. Although one thing I did pull out of it, I liked the talk towards the end about mimesis and anti-mimesis. I had not heard of those terms before, because I wasn't educated in that way. Hearing about those terms, but I liked the quotes from Tennessee Williams and Oscar Wilde that you were pulling here, and talking about the use of anti-mimesis, which is so mimesis, from what I gather, is basically the creation of art, making it as close, basically the creation of realism, like using art as I might be misrepresenting that. It's sort of, I think anti-mimesis that you were saying, you were using the Oscar Wilde quote that was, life imitates art more than art imitates life, is the idea with anti-mimesis, I believe. And then mimesis is kind of like, no, art should imitate life, sort of deal. I believe that's what it was. Again, it's hard for me to like fully say it back in a way that's like engaging and memorable type of thing, and that's nothing much on you. It's as much on me, because I'm a dum. And again, it being Monogatari, I think there's some inexplicable quality about Monogatari that makes it be like, what's going on? What? I find that in general with those kinds of videos. Personally, would it be? Anyway, I did enjoy that video though. And again, for a first video, I thought it was really strong. First video I've seen from Aries Anime, or Aries Anime, talking about nonverbal storytelling in Liz and the Bluebird. I like Liz and the Bluebird a good deal, so I was happy with this analysis. Although it was funny, I wrote in my notes, Jack? Because, like, there's something about the delivery here, and the fact that it's a KyoAni work, and the type of analysis this is, this just felt like an Under the Scope video. And I like Under the Scope videos, so, you know, I just thought that was funny. And that's not, you know, I thought that was cool. But basically, the Aries is talking about the opening of the movie and the closing of the movie, how there's sort of like a mirror effect and, you know, a clear difference. And it's that sort of analysis. And it really made me want to rewatch Liz, because I do like me some Liz, and he's kind of just covering the video as a whole in terms of, like, you know, all the things that's showing you on screen without any dialogue and all the information you can gather from it. Specifically the opening scene. I remember being completely enamored by that opening of no, I'm gonna butcher the names. I'm not gonna try. the girl following the other girl. I think it's Nozomi and Mizure. Yes, I believe so. I believe it's Mizure following Nozomi. I believe that's it. Ha! I think that I might be dead wrong, and I'm like egg on my face. Anyway, yeah. But I really liked that video a good deal. I thought it was really sound analysis. I liked the structure to it, and I thought it was consistently engaging throughout. And again, I didn't write too many notes beyond that, so I haven't rewatched the video in a couple weeks. So, you know, would it be? Anyway, I'm pretty happy with that video. I really enjoyed it. Nice one. Hakaru with Goblin Slayer regaining humanity. And I've liked this guy's videos a number of times, and I liked this one too. I liked that he really is kind of subverting our expectations here about Goblin Slayer, where everyone kind of mentions how, like, this is such a vile type of show, and a lot of people have negative reactions to the first episode. And I thought the use of this really atmospheric, heavy metal, like setting the scene type of thing towards the beginning, and it's supposed to be the introduction to Goblin Slayer, but everyone focuses on the scene before that, which is annoying. I felt it was mostly kind of plot summary-ish, and it was just kind of going through, and then when this happens in the story, he slowly regains humanity a little bit like this. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I haven't seen Goblin Slayer, so, you know, it wasn't like enlightening in that way to me. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. But no, I liked the focus a lot of you know, Goblin Slayer specifically regaining his humanity. I'm sorry, I'm just literally regurgitating the title to you. That is the title, Shames. Yes, that is what I was trying to do. I liked it. God. Yeah. So I thought it was cool. I felt like it was a little short, and I was hoping that energy that you had at the intro was able to sort of propel it and have the same momentum throughout the whole thing. But that's okay. I thought the overall concept was really sound, and I thought the focus for, you know, given that the notoriety of the show is really strong. So I liked that video a good deal. Yeah. Ooh, it's GilLiesHere, famed AMVer. With his this is his second analysis video that I know of. I wasn't sure if his Oron one was the first time he had done something like that. But this is also just a delightful surprise, and I did watch Midori Days and enjoyed it, so I was happy to see this kind of analysis of it. And this was an interesting point where it was an analysis video talking about a real world concept of otaku and Densho Otako and these other sources and subjects, and he's just using this particular aspect of the anime to expand on this other idea and inform his audience about it. And it isn't so much like, this is what makes Midori Day so good. Uh, not to rag on the many anime YouTube videos, but it's like they really do see it as like, I'm going to focus on this one idea, and that's going to prove that this whole show is really good, type of thing. And it's more like, this part's really interesting. to take one of his pretty obvious inspirations of pause and select, but that's not a bad influence to have. I certainly have that. But I think this is also what I mean with like making a video essay and not so much of an essay as a video, because it has incredibly engaging visuals and textures and techniques and things that are make it stand out and really different and interesting and unique. Again, I love the subject and using the show rather than the narrow focus of the show in particular. Like the way he suddenly kind of changes the subject to Densha Otoko and explaining that type of thing and how that ties back into this idea of moe. Yeah, I thought it had a really great presentation, and also the only one that I've seen that I'm pretty sure I wrote this in my notes at the time of watching through all of them in the playlist, and I'm pretty sure this is actually the case with the rest of the videos too, but every single video. This is the only video that mentions the r/anime contest. that this video is an entry for it, which I thought that was kind of interesting and funny. But yeah, this is what I mean by video essay. That's like an experience and really engaging and memorable. I feel like I think I talked about this in Digest before, and I said I was going to save all my detail for this. So here it is. Hopefully it was worth it. Worth the wait. But I think Gil had a really strong grasp on his firm grip on the subject, but also just knowing what it takes to make a really engaging video. And I think a lot of that comes down to making all the videos that he had made before, all of those AMV type of things. It's sort of post AMV, where it's just really engaging and using this medium we have of video craft to make something compelling and engaging. And I think that background he has really helps with making these kinds of videos. So I encourage you. So the moral of the story is make AMVs, guys. It helps with your video editing. I'm not kidding though. I really think my practice with making AMVs, just because I liked them and I have fun making them, it does improve my video making when it comes to these essays, because I think about it in the perspective of I want the audience to have fun and be engaged in that way and be captivated by either the choice of music or the choice of visuals. I think Gil has a great case in point here, case study, if you will. Love this video, of course. He is. I do consider Gil one of my major influences. Yeah, and I'm very happy he's starting to actually kind of dip his toe into doing essays, because I think he is very good at it. Also check out his Oron video, which is also very good and does the same thing. It does the same thing where he's talking about kind of a real life subject matter and talking about it in the lens of an anime and not so much this is why the anime is so good or something like that. Again, not to brag, I'm just repeating myself. Great video, Gil. The user Molokolulush. Interesting. Yeah. Had a video on wolf children, how Mamoru Hosoda teaches us the art of parenting in wolf children. And, despite mentioning Hosoda in the title, I don't really think they talk so much about Hosoda in the video so much. He's not really referring to what he's doing with his directing or writing structurally that is teaching you the art of parenting. I think it's just kind of the movie itself and what's so great about it that is referring to parenting. And I think it is a very comprehensive reading of the movie and seems pretty accurate. I do feel it's a tad plot summary where it's like, and then when this happens, it does this, and then this, and then this sort of, and it doesn't. I don't think it goes like completely one for one with the length of the movie. He does jump around a couple of times, but it did sort of feel that way, which is it only does so much for me personally. I think it's still comprehensive, and it was engaging all the way through. But I was sort of let down by not really talking about Hosoda specifically, because I am really fascinated by him as a director, and he's he has complete creative control of this movie. So it would have been interesting to kind of like talk more about the movie craft on display, and not so much like the themes or characters as Molokolulush refers to it as. But what it be, I did enjoy it though. It was cool. I have talked about this video before from Kinetic Literature, talking about Angel Beats, exploring tragedy through comedy. And so if I contradict myself anywhere, and I wrote some notes here after doing a second watch, and haven't watched it in a couple weeks, but having seen it at least twice, right, and covered it before. I believe I've covered it before. Because I remember covering this and then seeing it on this playlist. I was like, oh, this is an entry for it. Okay. So yeah, I really liked the hook at the beginning and talking about Jun Maeda and really demystifying him as a creator, because I think like this is like kind of one of those figures that a lot of people reference and kind of name drop, but they don't really get where he's coming from and they don't know his background. I certainly didn't, and as much. I'm not like studied with him the way others are. Although I thought like later on with the exploring tragedy through comedy, when it gets later on into the video, I think that Jun Maeda just gets kind of lost and they were put to the side. It doesn't really connect with the whole of the video personally. But I thought it was welcome for sure, and to show that like, yeah, this is a thing with his work in general and not just Angel Beats. But it is especially notable with Angel Beats because it's a lot more comedy oriented. And I liked that he was kind of matching the show with his own type of comedy, and it's very nice and dry and kind of, and not like distracting or obnoxious. I thought it was really tasteful, and welcome. Again, that sort of thing with and also I was saying, I put in my notes at least that the editing is very active and there's a lot of really cool shots coming together and moving around and use of visuals that isn't just simple clip selection. That I thought was welcome, and it had a sort of energy to it, and an attention to craft of video making, and not so much of an essay to video type of thing. But I might be contradicting or something, but like I noticed in the second watch, and I wrote it in my notes, I did think it goes on for a little too long. When he starts to kind of cover this particular character, I don't remember who, I haven't seen Angel Beats, and kind of describing this one episode and using it as an example to talk about tragedy through comedy. I thought it kind of slowed the momentum down a lot, and I wasn't as engaged with it personally. I think if it was more holistic, the way I think the first half, I think there was like talking more generally about Angel Beats. I thought it was a little more engaging in that way, as someone who hadn't seen it. But maybe there would have been a more engaging way to do it with the particular example. You could have still done it, but maybe there's some other way to go about it. I'm not sure. But that was I just thought it kind of lost steam in the last third or so, or maybe just the second half. And that's okay. Let it be. Yeah, but I did enjoy that. As I again, sorry if I contradict or do any weirdness with the two of them here, but I did enjoy this. I did enjoy this video a good deal. Here's a pretty interesting entry from this guy, Dr. Jon Tam, career clarity coach, and his whole thing is, I guess he has like a whole program and other things that he follows, or other things like that, and he's not really talking so much about anime on his channel as much as general life coach types of things. How to be a better leader and other such things. and he's using Demon Slayer. And he says the title of the video is Tanjiro Kamado Character and Personality Analysis, and it's before Mugen Train, so they're just focusing on the first season, of course. And he uses this like test, I guess, or like attribute thing, and it's an acronym called OCEAN, and it's a lot of different characteristics of leadership, and it's demonstrating what kind of leader Tanjiro is as a character. And it's his personal analysis, and he kind of welcomes people, and he links it below, and he's like, if you guys want to like share your disagreements or like discussion of what where Tanjiro lies in this this factor of like, I think he's very much weak on the C or stuff like that, and it's a whole thing, and that's why it's a little longer. But I like the analysis, and I think he's sounds pretty knowledgeable in what he's talking about here, and it's pretty cool. I thought the focus on agreeableness specifically, I think that's the A in Ocean, was also particularly interesting in talking about how like a high agreeableness is actually a weaker attribute for a leader, because if you have high agreeableness, then you're not going to be as hard decision making, and you want to try to please everybody, and when you try to please everybody, you're not going to make any concrete decisions, and there's a potential for it to kind of not go anywhere. So I like that point in particular, I remember. But that was very refreshing and different. I thought I just thought it was more interesting than it was super engaging, like, wow, this is opens so many, it wasn't like impressive in that sense. But you know what, also, for somebody that doesn't seem to make anime type videos, I was thinking that the clip, at first I was like, yeah, the clip selection, whatever. But there was some choices that I thought was like, oh, that's actually really sharp to show that clip when you're talking about that thing. I thought it was fairly on the nose, actually. So it showed that there was a good deal of care put into what you're showing as he was talking about this concept, which I thought was very welcome and good. But yeah, I thought it was really different and interesting. Pretty cool. RPWPA had a video on Barakamon, the anime that got me out of depression. And I felt really bad because the only note that apparently I wrote when I watched it was, nice review, happy to see it helped him with his depression. Which is just the title of the video, you idiot. So I was like, well, I have to rewatch. I have no idea. I don't quite remember. And I did latch onto one thing from him, which was the stern face gag that's in Barakamon. It's kind of memed everywhere. Instead of, making him laugh, he said that he kind of had this feeling of relief and this kind of like this relaxing feeling. And it's like, oh, life can get better. And he was like giving that very specific example, which I thought was really great. But generally he's talking about like there's all these great characters and a lot of the good feelings that it has, and generally what Slice of Life does for him. And his channel does reflect that. A lot of the videos on his channel is talking about Natsume Yujinsho, Mushishi, a lot of these Slice of Life type of shows. And I think that's a cool focus. So if you're into those shows, check this guy out, because I think, I think it's the only anime YouTuber that I can think of that very deliberately focuses on that subgenre. I think that's interesting. I think it's really cool. And yeah, I really like the vibes he's giving, the music choice, and his delivery is also very earnest and relaxing as well. There's a calmness to his delivery too that adds to it as well. But yeah, it's short and not trying to shoot for the moon or anything like that, so I don't have too much else to say beyond that. But I thought that was really sweet. I really liked that. CinicClinic again with Dragon Ball Z Dead Zone review, the best of both worlds. And, I gushed pretty hard with his previous video. And the same does apply here. And this video on Dead Zone convinced me to watch his other Dragon Ball video on filler, which was also very insightful. If a little less active in terms of the editing. Not that it was bad at all. It's just it was relying on his older technique that I remember for his Kino Journey video. It's a lot like the lot longer videos. he kind of pads it out with doing this speed drawing or speed paint of a drawing he does, which is really wonderful. I think that's a really creative and valuable. I think it's a really smart choice. But I like these other shorter videos like this one and his other video for Novid that are shorter and more compact, but there's a lot of jokes to them. He's so fucking funny. Every opportunity he has with the disclaimers and little bits that you just don't expect. It's so idiosyncratic. I don't know if that's the right word. The visuals again are so inventive, and I like that I think there was at least 2 art pieces that he drew himself for Dragon Ball. It was like, I think the thumbnail is something he drew himself, and it's gorgeous. I think his artwork is great here. And that's also a very rare thing with anime YouTube. None of us could draw. Advantage. Oh man. But yeah, and I also wrote his voice on Dragon Ball is unceasingly refreshing. Like, I can't get over the fact that like this is a series that is so over talked about and like commonplace, and it attracts a very specific kind of fan and a specific kind of YouTuber that like his voice that is so smart sounding, I guess, but but also just like has seen more anime than just Dragon Ball, and is like kind of getting it from Toriyama's perspective and like out of a sense of real respect. The only other person that I think treats Dragon Ball the way I want it to be treated, as this like hallmark and mainstay, but not like the mainstream whatever. The only other one that's closer to CineClinic is Anime AJ. Is that Anime AJ? Yeah, he's the one that like reviews a lot of the Dragon Ball releases, and he's like, all these Western releases are shit or something like that. I think that's him. He's done a lot of good Dragon Ball content for me personally. But yeah, I just think like the tone in which CineClinic is talking about this series, like it's an anime and not just Dragon Ball. You know what I mean? Like it's an anime like any other one, like any other anime. I don't know. I always find that really specifically refreshing. So I love this video. Yeah, and very happy with it, and it got me to watch his other content, right? So that's another big W, I would say. Yeah, of course I love this one. Otaku Box had kind of an interesting video on a journey to find a beautiful world on Kino's journey, and I like the personal anecdote at the start with a lot of the live action footage. I do mess with that a lot, as well as the kind of the personal first person narrative that isn't just like about Otaku Box, but also they use it for the first person. They use the first person when describing these various episodes of Kino's journey. So I think they cover 3 episodes, and it's a little plot summary. But it's a twist where instead of saying Kino goes here, describing the plot in that way, it's more like I witnessed this, and it's like a journal entry. It's written as a journal entry, and then there's a twist at the end after those 3, where there's a personal reflection and turn, and it's like you're literally writing in a notebook, and Otaku Box is filming that, and I thought that was really different and interesting, and a very cute ending too, talking kind of introspectively and about exploring our world and finding it beautiful, finding the beauty in it. I thought that was really different and interesting. I liked that. It was comfy and good. And this is the other one that I've covered on Digest before, so if I contradict myself, I apologize. But this is about from College Debt, talking about Shichiro Watanabe and the 2-shot dynamic. I really like the subs you had here. It was very stylized and really polished. It feels like a very inspired kind of video, filled like every frame of painting type of content, and I do like that sort of polish. There's a good eye for visual audio cues and things like that. I thought there was the one thing that was kind of, and also the general topic is kind of interesting too, with the 2-shot and splitting the frame in such ways. There's top bottom talking about shot composition here was cool. But I'm not sure why you preface it or like talk specifically how we're going to go from 2 examples from this Watanabe short and Kaiba. But then you're also talking about Gridman. Again, I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, as well as from Ufotable. Not Ufotable, I'm sorry. Euphonium. Hibike Euphonium. Jesus Christ, Shapes. Whatever. And Tatami Galaxy. You show like all these other examples from other media before you get to your example on Kaiba. I just thought that was a little confusing. So it's like, I don't know if you necessarily should have said like, we're gonna go over 2 examples, and maybe that was part of the disconnect or something. But yeah, and I'm sorry again that this is contradictory, or maybe the digest one had more information on it. I apologize. But yeah, I did enjoy that video. It was cool. I noticed that like all of the you know that I finished talking about it when I'm saying it was cool or I liked it. God damn it. And the last video in this playlist for the r/anime contest is from Wolf of Will Street. Nice name. And it's also the Tyler the Creator Wolf album, but with an actual wolf. It's kind of funny. Keep your filthy hands off my Eizouken. And it's just kind of a general Eizouken video, like a lot of them ended up being personally. That's not a knock on this video specifically, I guess, but it's just in general. I think it's something about this type of series elicits people to make those sorts of videos, I guess. But this does start very differently. Comparing the trio of Eizouken to the trio of Ed, Ed, and Eddie, which I thought was really engaging and hooked me really hard, but it doesn't really last all that long. It kind of moves on from that and talking about each of the individual characters. And, also with the Three Stooges and things like that, I thought that initial like dynamic is kind of cool and interesting, but ends up being a solid analysis, which is cool. It's good, and they had some good music too. And I also wrote down, I really liked the use of the main theme, like kind of that very infectious, iconic, I think, main theme for the show, using it as sort of an AMV to tie in at the end. It's like, I'm gonna kind of always remember it, like, and have that feeling. And it invoked the same feelings in me too, where I was like, yeah, I remember watching that. That was fucking dope. I had the same thing. But I don't have too much else to say about it beyond that. I thought it was solid. Yeah, pretty cool. That's it. And that's gonna do it for this special edition of AniTube Digest. Thank you very much for watching. This is the last digest that I'm recording for 2020. It's been a year. Wow, how original for you, Shabes. Anyway, tomorrow, the first day of 2021, there will be no excuses. I will have not combed through specifically, I guess. I have made a list already for the best anime YouTube videos of 2020. I'll explain it later when I get to that video. But publish your videos now, or they won't be. I'll still cover it on Monday. God, literal damn it. A lot of digest this week. You guys see you tomorrow. Have a good New Year's. Happy New Year. That's the thing to say, Shaves. New Year's Eve. Yo, peace.